Buddy. Today, I'm a bit behind on a bunch of Beavis and Butthead episodes, so let's do a combo review, like we did for the Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah. First episode I'm going to talk about is Virtual Stupidity, not the video game that came out on computers. I heard that's a fun game, though. It looks fun. So, basically, Beavis and Butthead are hanging out in the mall, and, they see someone playing a virtual game, and they don't realize what actual virtual gameplay is. And so Beavis and Butthead just put on some random sunglasses, and they think they're in some video game world, even though they're just looking at the mall. And so they do a bunch of things that are just stupid. Like, they try to, hold on to a car while it's driving, and then, they get hurt. And then, And then they're just like, how do we restart? And then they decide they're gonna try to kill each other, and they don't realize they're not in a video game. And so if they got killed, they'd actually be dead. But Beavis and Butthead, they don't care about plot armor, and so Beavis and Butthead then get run over by a car, and the guy in the car feels terrible for what happened, since he just randomly came out of nowhere. And then and they're taken to the hospital, and then they put the sunglasses back on, and they realize it's next to their hospital bed, and they try beating up the guy who ran them over, and he even gave them flowers, and they think he's a bad guy or something. They even tried to find weapons, as they think it's an actual video game or something. So this episode ain't much, but it just proves that Beavis and Butthead are stupid by doing stuff like this, since it's literally called Virtual Stupidity. I bet when the writers were writing this, they were thinking about the video game. And so the next episode is Locked Out. So it's basically Beavis and Butthead are trying to go home, but then Beavis forgot he locked the door. And then so, because they don't have a key, they're locked out of their own home. And so they basically try to find various ways to get back into their own home. By doing that, they try to get Tom Anderson. They try to use his truck to open the door, and they use this chain with a hook on it, and then they try to do it on. Beavis tries to put it on the doorknob, but when Tom Anderson is driving, it then tears apart the entire front roof and door, and it's dragging, and then Tom Anderson doesn't realize that's happening, and then the cops pull him over, and he gets in trouble. And that's how Beavis and Butthead get their home. So these two episodes weren't the best. They were simply typical episodes of Beavis and Butthead. Something you'd probably definitely likely see in the show. Now, these episodes weren't really in-depth or anything. Of course, Beavis and Butthead ain't really in-depth. It's just comedy. But, they were funny, though. They were crazy, for sure. It wasn't like the raccoon episode, where raccoons break into their home, and then this time their house literally comes apart. And, And one thing you want to know, when you're leaving your house, have a key with you. Even, don't leave it in the car. Hide your key, protect it, be responsible. That's basically what the episode could teach you in a way. So, next is The New Kidney, I think it's called. Now, this episode's a big episode for sure, as we see the return of Smart Beavis, Smart Butthead, and they're on the moon for some reason, and they're fascinated by old Beavis and Butthead, even though they're in their 30s, probably, or 40s. And so, basically, when Beavis and Butthead at night, or when Beavis starts to drink alcohol, he has to go pee, but when Butthead leaves the couch, Beavis decides to take his spot, and he said he won't leave, and Butthead's just like, I'll take your seat if you just leave. And then, because Beavis has just been sitting there all day, I think he has a kidney failure or something, And, yeah, he has to go. I saw, spoiler photos on Discord for these episodes. I thought it was gonna be, like, a serious episode, but no, it's comedy. You know it'll never get serious. And so, Beavis is at the hospital for some reason. Somehow Butthead got him there. And so, here's the big spoiler. 3, 2, 1. We see the return of Stuart, but he's older. And, yeah. And they don't remember Stuart until Stuart has to remind them. It's very nice to see Stuart. I said earlier that I wanted to see an older Stuart. I meant like in the 2022, where Beavis and Butthead time traveled. Like in Duty Universe, but I was wondering if that's older Stuart. Since Stuart would be older, he'd be seeing the duo still teenagers. But I guess not. But we still got to see older Stuart. So basically, Stuart gets a kidney transfer to Beavis, because if he doesn't get a new kidney, Beavis will die, apparently. So it's because of that alcohol, and I guess the blood draining because of Butthead. So yeah, and we even get a nice little line while Beavis is about to pass out. He says, "I am the great Cornholio." Like, we got a little reference of Cornholio, which is nice. And after the transfer, they go to some restaurant, and then, and one of the rules is if you got a new kidney transfer, you can't drink any alcohol. And, of course, you know Beavis. He drinks alcohol. And, yeah, his kidney then breaks, and then Stuart's just like, "You broke my new kidney." And the episode ends. So, yeah, this was a nice change of pace for an episode, for sure. Even though Beavis and Butthead weren't really in it, like the teenager versions, these are the adult versions. It's still the same ones though, just them older, I guess. So next is The Good Deed. So I saw the title of this on the fandom page for Beavis and Butthead. I was wondering what it was going to be about. And yeah, they basically, when Beavis and Butthead are heard that they're going to go to a school dance, they decide to bring what they think is Spanish fly, because Tom Anderson gave them toxins to kill flies, and because they were fighting with a fly earlier in the episode, Tom Anderson gives it to them. It even proves that Tom Anderson's an idiot too. Like, he's willing to give teenagers toxins just to kill a fly, and because they use those toxins, they put it in the bowl, and yeah, they think people are going to drink it. And not to get inappropriate on this channel, but basically Spanish fly is basically it causes you to feel sexy. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. And it's kind of a reference to the other episode of Spanish Fly. And yeah, the episode's crazy as well. It's a nice little reference. And so during the dance, Beavis and Butthead then decide to drink what they claim is Spanish fly, even though it's toxins. And then, because they drink it, they end up getting sick. And really sick. They end up puking, and even acid hits Beavis' foot or something. And yeah, they go to the hospital, and they die. They flatline. So yeah, when I saw this, I'm thinking, oh crap, Beavis and Butthead died. But, you know, they're gonna come back. They're gonna resurrect them the next episode. And that's exactly what happened. And so this episode was very crazy. Definitely one of the more memorable episodes. Even Mr. Van Driesen almost drinks the toxins. So, yeah. So, next is, I think it's called 2.5 Idiots. Basically, we see the return of old Beavis and Butthead, but we don't see smart Beavis and Butthead. They just go straight forward with it. And so basically, at the Maxi Market, we see the return of it, and there was apparently a robbery. And so Beavis and Butthead decided to go to the court hearing for that criminal because he was caught. And yeah, and then the jurors and Beavis and Butthead decide if he's guilty or not guilty. And they look at the footage, and they then go, guilty, except for Beavis and Butthead, because they think what he did was cool. And so, but then when they realized there was a witness, and they realized that witness wasn't the burglar, the jurors decide to say, not guilty. But then, of course, Beavis and Butthead then say guilty. And so, yeah, the juries get really annoyed of Beavis and Butthead. And so, that's kind of the episode. This episode was kind of boring, it was kind of just too short, and it was nice to see the Maxi Market again. And I have a possible theory. We see the Maxi Mart guy at the counter. I have a strong theory that this is the Maxi Mart guy's son. It's a wild theory, but it's possible. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. So this one I really wanted to talk about, Freaky Friday. So Beavis and Butthead go to the Maxi Market, and they're messing with the sodas or whatever, and we see some dude who beats them up. I guess they're like his new Todd. Who knows where Todd is during 2022? And, yeah, Beavis and Butthead gets their heads smashed onto the thing, and they pass out for a bit, and then when they wake up, they look at each other through the door, like the mirror or whatever. When you open the door when you're at any gas station marketplace, I think you get the point. And then they basically see each other's reflections, and then boom, they think they swap minds because they were talking about Freaky Friday. And so Beavis and Butthead think they swap minds, and they change clothes as shown in this picture. But Beavis is now wearing Butthead's clothes, and Butthead's wearing Beavis's clothes. It was nice. I feel like they only made this episode just to show the audience what they look like if they wore each other's clothes. I was wondering, how did they change each other's clothes? And I thought they probably just argued about it and decided to just switch clothes. And so Beavis and Butthead then decide to go back and find the guy that beat him up. And then, because he's with his girlfriend, he can't be violent in front of her. And that will cause her to want to break up. And so while she goes into the Maxi Market, he then beats them up. And then, yeah, Beavis and Butthead didn't think they swapped back. And so then they walk into the sunset, and that's the episode. So, yeah. These episodes definitely are trying to feel like the original show, but I feel like they can be a lot more. I like these episodes. They're not my favorite, but I really just want to see Cornholio return. Like, I think we all do. We need Cornholio. So, how would I rate these episodes? I'd rate Virtual Stupidity a 7 out of 10, like a low 7. Locked Out, probably a 7 as well. It was kind of funny. We also saw the return of Tom Anderson's wife, which was nice. So I'd give it that. New Kidney, I'd give it like a high 7 out of 10, or an 8, because it was a nice, like, love letter, I guess. And the Good Deed, definitely an 8 out of 10. That was a good episode. And this episode, probably a 6 out of 10. And the latest episode, definitely an 8 out of 10. So tell me, have you seen these latest episodes? I'd love to talk about the show weekly now, hopefully. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.